Is this an okay time? Nothing else matters. You may recognize today's text in a different setting, maybe. We'll get to that in a moment. There wasn't anything I could do. It's like one of those things in slow motion that just have to let happen. Is this okay? Should we do the hokey pokey again and find out? Hello? Okay. Everything's okay there? No need for more hokey pokey. Although, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if y'all got up and stretched a little bit. Golly, should we? I better think that one through. Maybe next week. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, picking up where Kelly left off. Well, I'm not really ready to read that yet, though. Don't do it. Now, really, where is my sermon? There it is. I know, you're gone for a week and you just forget everything. So last week as I listened in the 80-degree shade, it was 80 degrees in the shade. Isn't that nice? Aren't you guys happy for me? But thanks to technology, I was able to listen in. So cool. Like, things fascinate me like that. Like how, I know airplanes have been around since like the 60s, but it's still so cool how fast you can get places. Does anybody else think that, or is it just me? 3,000 miles away, or however far along we were, I found myself a little emotional. I hid it from Jessica, of course. I didn't let her know that I was emotional. I had my sunglasses on. But the reason why is because Dave and Mary and Casey singing and Kelly's message, it was just so cool to have a church, and there's so many people that step up every single week. Sheila doing the praise songs, and Holly and Marilee playing the piano, but there's so many unique gifts and talents right here in this church, and it takes faith to stand up, and it takes, guts at the end of the day to stand up here and do what they did. So I'm so thankful that they did that, and I just think it was such a blessing. So thank you, Dave, Mary, Kelly. Thank you for your singing, Casey. See, I told you, Dave, I had this all planned out. I would have never been able to do this on my own. But thank you for bringing it up. It was just a great service, and we were all very well blessed. But the other thing that I learned a lot from Kelly's message, but apparently, this was news to me, by the way. You can deliver an effective message and get people out before 10:30. That was another thing that I learned. Yeah, I know. And I was like, do I put that in there? Because they're never going to let me hear the end of it. But great job. I mean, really, that was remarkable. I've tried that many times. But I wanted to recap Kelly's message really quick because it was such a blessing and there was so many good things in it. And here's a couple things that I pulled out of it, and we're going to walk right into today's message with it. So if we could spend a day or a week or whatever, just some time in another's shoes and see things the way that they see things, would we really still have our differences? Would we still feel the same way about our differences? Kelly said that we are all essential, which we are. In God's eyes, we are all equal. We are all called. We are all called for different things, and that's why it was so cool to see people sharing their gifts last week. Every one of us has been called by God, and we contribute, all of us, to the whole. And we need each other, now more than ever, because we're so connected/disconnected, aren't we? We need each other. No, and I love this one. No matter your resources, Kelly said, no matter your resources, you can always love. It doesn't cost anything to love. It doesn't cost anything to smile. It doesn't cost anything to have a little bit of fun up here with the kids. You can always love no matter your resources. Resources or resources? That's why that's what we are going to focus on today, picking up right where Kelly left off. But first, I just wanted to share a couple other things that I observed over the last week while we traveled away. But one thing is that the world is a very big place. The world is a very big place. I just talked about how fast you can get from place to place. But particularly where there were a lot of people from different cultures and they didn't speak English, and it just makes you think of how small our perspective can get right here in, say, Northwest Iowa or the Midwest. There's so much more out there, and there's so many things that maybe we miss living where we do, and that could go for, it's not just picking on us, that could go for anybody. We think small because we think what we can see in our own perspective, but the world really is a big place, but also, okay, so the world's a big place, but the world's also a small place. And what I mean by that is, as I looked around, and many of you have traveled before in your life, and maybe you've observed this too, but no matter the language, no matter somebody's background, no matter where somebody came from, a smile is still a smile. And I would look around and see families eating breakfast together or spending some time on the beach together or whatever it was, and they were interacting the same way that we do. So people are the same. No matter where they live, no matter where they're from, they still interact the same. They don't even speak the same language, but a smile is still a smile. A smile is a smile in any language. One day, Braxton and I went golfing on vacation. We went golfing for his birthday, just him and I. It was such a nice day together. And we saw golf lessons being conducted in French. And then we saw a little bit later, and I know it's French because I speak French. No, I don't, but it was a good guess on my part. But people eating lunch a little bit later were speaking a different language. And they were enjoying each other's company just the same way that we would enjoy each other's company. In fact, I should have sent it, but Braxton took a picture of a kitty, El Gato, was sitting there watching them eat their sandwiches, and they, who spoke a different language or from a completely different part of the world, I'm sure of it, pointed and laughed at the kitty just like we would. So people really aren't any different, right? I know, that's simple and that's silly, but they thought the cat was cute just like we would. So that made me think that laughter is just a smile out loud. And laughter is the same for everybody, regardless of your background, of your beliefs, where you come from. Laughter is just smiling out loud. Anyway, a few holes later, we pulled up to, we've been having a lovely round, and we pulled up to a group of about 6 or 7 people that happened to be there celebrating somebody's wedding, and they were out golfing together. And I was kind of, if you're a golfer, you're kind of thinking like me, oh gosh, we're going to have to get behind some slow people. And we were behind them for a couple of holes, but then we got to, I'm doing the thing again, aren't I? But we got to a hole, and they were going to let us go through. And I had been playing the blue tees, which is tees that, so there's like women's tees, and then there's like average people tees, and then there's like people that are a little bit better than average tees. Yeah, I'm not better than average. I just wanted to challenge myself. I promise you, Braxton, I'm not that good of a golfer, am I? But anyway, I was playing the blue tees because it was just him and I. Like, why would I want a little more yardage. I want to get my money's worth. And this particular par 3 that we drove up to, where the 6 or 7 were going to let us through, there was a bunch of stuff that you had to hit the ball over. And the first thing I thought was, oh gosh, I'm going to shank it right into the pond or whatever here, and it's going to be embarrassing in front of all these people. So I just pulled up right to the yellow tees where they were, and the first thing Braxton said is, Dad, aren't you playing the blue tees? And I was like, yes, son, thank you very much for reminding me. And anyway, I went on and hit it from the yellow tees just fine, made it, I think, near the green. But just so you're like, I'm not bragging about golf. I was like 35 over par, so this is not me bragging. Again, I just want to get my money's worth, so I played a little longer hole. But anyway, I got to talking with the people, 6 or 7 of them, and I said, well, any day's a good day because it's 20 below zero at home, and they're like, it's 20 below where we live too. And I'm like, really? Well, that's cool. Where do you guys live? Actually, I think they asked me first, and I said, Northwest Iowa. We live in Northwest Iowa too. And I'm like, really? So anyway, here we are, 3,000 miles away, running into hardly anybody speaks English, and we've run into some people on the golf course that are from Northwest Iowa. They knew people right here in this town. And one of them grew up in Rock Valley, and one of them lived in Sioux Falls. And isn't that crazy that 3,000 miles away we can run into people that live right where we live? I thought that was really remarkable, especially in a place where I was noticing all the different cultures and all the different backgrounds, and at the golf course nobody was speaking English, and here's these people from Northwest Iowa right there. So anyway, we connected and talked like people from Northwest Iowa do when they run into each other, and 20 minutes later we ended up playing through. And I thank Braxton for reminding me of which tees I was supposed to be on. But all of that to say this, here's some takeaways from that. So you don't have to be on vacation. I know I'm talking about vacation a lot, but you don't have to be on vacation or 3,000 miles away to laugh and smile and enjoy the little things. Okay? That's reminder number one. You don't have to be anywhere special to have a good time and smile. And slowing down in this ever busier and busier world that is always pulling at us, this time I actually do need a drink, is really hard to do. It's hard for me. It was hard for me to relax. I finally got relaxed. You don't have to say anything, but if this happens to you on vacation, you get relaxed finally about day 6, and then day 7 it's time to come home. But it's hard to slow down. But I got another reminder of this last night. Make memories while you can. Make memories while you can, because this is a quick trip. Life goes by really fast, and we never know when things will change. About 9 p.m. last night, as I got home, getting out of the car, thinking about, I still feel like my sermon's a mess, and the kids needed to go to bed, and I was probably getting tired and cranky with them, but I got a call from a person I don't normally get a call from, and right away, you know when that happens on a Saturday night, you'll go on automatic alert right away. You're like, why is this person calling me? And I even answered the phone. I was like listen to hear if there was going to be like heavy breathing or anything at first, and I was like, hello? And it was my friend who doesn't normally call me, and he told me that our friend, who I had gotten to know through marketing Visiting Angels in Sioux Falls, had suddenly passed away yesterday. 41-year-old guy, has a wife, has a 5-year-old daughter, suddenly passed away yesterday. And it just got me thinking even more about the message today about, we just never know when things will change. And we don't need to be 3,000 miles away. We don't need to take a week's vacation to enjoy each day. Because yesterday just happened to be this person's last day. I saw him just a couple of weeks ago. I hadn't seen him for probably a year and a half. When you get older, you don't have to talk to your friends every single week. But we had talked and chatted a lot. The rental Camaro, maybe you guys remember the rental Camaro story. I brought it over to his auto body shop and took him for a ride, and he was one of the only couple people in my life that I knew would appreciate those 455 horses, and we went for a ride together. But he loved Jesus. He loved Jesus. So you know what? I know he's in a better place today, but it doesn't make it any better that he's gone for his family and for his daughter. In fact, he had a custom Firebird that had Psalm 23 painted on the hood. It was so cool. Just one of those people that comes into your life that you just won't forget. And it just, moments like that make me realize the blessing that each day is. Him and his wife, he was telling me when we talked 2 weeks ago, our conversations got deep, as they always do. I'm sure you guys have friends like that in your life where you just know, like I went to his body shop to have him look at this little piece of bodywork on the Visiting Angels car that I wanted to fix. And we talked about that for like 5 seconds, but the rest of the time we spent talking about life. And one of the things he said was him and his wife had just took in a family member that was going through a rough patch because they knew he was going through a rough patch and needed a break. So they wanted to show him love. So they took him into his household. And again, I just can't help but reflect on that this morning, and he's no longer with us. But as an example he was an example of somebody who loves Jesus and loves others. And I think that's really cool, and that's a really cool reminder for today. But only God knows the future. Only God knows what's going to happen. And Paul says it's our job to do everything with love. Everything that we do with love. So let's read 1 Corinthians 1 through 13, if you want to put that up there. And everybody want to stand up. This is my way of making sure that we don't get too tired. Kelly's going to put it up there. There we go. If I speak in the tongues. Now, you might recognize this. I've been to a wedding with this text. It's more than romantic love. If I speak in the tongues of men or angels but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all that I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and prophesy in part, but when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I become a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part. Then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. You may be seated. Verse 1, Paul says, if I spoke any other way than out of love, it would just be noise. It would be meaningless noise. And I don't know about you guys, but meaningless noise makes me think of social media. There's a lot of meaningless noise out there on social media, isn't there? It hurts, and it's always there, and nothing else matters when maybe when one of our kids are being bullied on, say, social media or something like that. But there's a lot of meaningless noise out there. But in our ever-connected world, many kids and many young adults also, there is no escape from this social media online bullying. And that's where I go when I think about meaningless noise and how connected we are. We talked about how big the world is and how small the world is, but yet how disconnected we are. And as I looked around last week, I also noticed that it doesn't matter your culture, it doesn't matter your language, it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter if you're on the side of the road, people are still glued. They're just glued to their devices. But when I grew up, I was bullied. Like many of you have a story about being bullied. People preyed on my insecurity and my shyness. But I could still seek refuge. And I think that's one thing that we need to remember raising children this day and age. I could still seek refuge at 4 o'clock. I could go home and seek refuge from the kids that tormented me. But for many kids these days, there is no escape. There is no escaping because they go home and they get on social media and they still see it. And there just is no relief. Because no longer is insulting or bullying someone a big deal as long as we don't have to look them in the eye. As long as we don't have to look somebody in the eye, we can say whatever we want, can't we? It's kind of what the world says. But Paul says that love seeks out the needs of others first. Love seeks out the needs of others first. What did I do with my, if somebody wants to cut the ledges down on this music instrument, that'd be great. Really can be kind of annoying. But Paul says seeks out the needs of others first. That's what love does. Love is about intention, and it takes intention to notice others. It takes intention to notice somebody hurting. It takes getting off of our devices to see what's around us. Another message about our distractions. Yes, another message about our distractions, or at least in part. But to the boy or girl that's being bullied on social media, there is no escape. We have to keep talking about this, and we have to keep making people aware of what's going on out there. Suicide rates are increasing in our children. Maybe you've heard this. Why does Pastor T have to go here every week? Because this is real, and this is serious, and this is really, really concerning for me. There's meaningless noise, and there's no escape to it. But love is thinking about someone other than ourselves and thinking about how our actions might affect someone else. Not something that we naturally think about, is it? But love is a verb, and love requires intention. last week during the Kansas City Chiefs and Buffalo Bills AFC divisional playoff game, championship game is today. But maybe you watched it. This is a game that people are going to be talking about for a long time if you're a football fan. And by the way, the making memories thing, I just want to talk about that for just a second. Braxton and I watched the game at the sports bar. Yeah, that's right, the sports bar. Don't get too carried away. This was at the place we were staying, and it really wasn't that much of a bar, but it was a bar, and it was 80% Buffalo Bills fans. It was just like we were actually in Buffalo, New York. But we had so much fun. Braxton and I had so much fun watching the game together. It was one of my favorite memories of the trip. Because I got to watch my son cheer for one of his heroes. And it was just really cool watching that unfold. Kelly, go ahead. This is a video of him. Now this is Josh Allen making a play with 33 seconds to go. I don't know how well there we go. Okay, here's Josh Allen escaping pressure. There's Braxton. That's Braxton. You got any volume here? There's Braxton. It was an incomplete pass. And Braxton's really excited. Now this is 80% Buffalo Bills fans. He doesn't care. He's not looking around him. He's not worried. There was 30 seconds left, and that was first down. The Buffalo Bills went on to score, leave the Kansas City Chiefs 13 seconds, and of course Patrick Mahomes is going to get them in field goal range. Harrison Butker kicks the game-tying field goal, puts them in overtime, and we know how the rest of the game ended. Again, it's going to be a game that people are going to talk about for a long, long time. But who our kids look up to matter. Who our kids look up to matter. Okay? And it starts with love. Patrick Mahomes had 188 yards in the last 2 minutes in an overtime, and he found Travis Kelce in the corner of the end zone for the walk-off, and a ticket to their fourth. We don't care about the Kansas City Chiefs. Sometimes you got to know context. Patrick Mahomes is a really, really big deal. This is going to be his fourth straight AFC championship game. After the game at Arrowhead Stadium, when 65,000 people are going nuts because the Kansas City Chiefs just walked off on the Buffalo Bills and got revenge. Actually, they won last year too, but got revenge from 2 years ago when Patrick Mahomes played the New England Patriots and never got a chance to touch the ball. The Buffalo Bills never got a chance to touch the ball, and Kansas City could say, in your face, Buffalo, we won, we're going to the championship game, but instead, roll the next video. This is Patrick Mahomes after just winning the divisional championship game, the divisional game. There he is. Watch him. He's running somewhere. Where's he going? They just won. What is he doing? He's running across the field, breaking away from his team's celebration to find Josh Allen, who he just beat. Now, I know there's other examples of love, and love can mean a lot of different things, but I thought that was pretty cool. When Patrick Mahomes was asked later in his press conference, he said, I just wanted to tell him how much respect I have for him. I wanted to show him respect because he deserved it. Now, Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills quarterback, was also asked about this, and he said, to come find me after winning like that was pretty cool. And I thought it was a good example with the message today of we can have fun, we can smile. A smile is the same in every language. A laugh is the same in every language. Things don't always need to be so dang serious all the time. But looking out for other people before ourselves is kind of a lost art, isn't it? When we think about social media, when we think about all the kids out there that are suffering through being bullied on social media, that are finding themselves in a place with no hope, they're forced to do things at school that maybe, I shouldn't say forced, but there's a lot of things going on, you know, when we got to wear the mask. Whether you believe in that or you don't believe in that, it affects the way that our kids learn and interact with each other. And they're connected, they're on their devices all day, and we don't know what they're watching, and kids are losing hope. That's why, for me, this was such a powerful example. Patrick Mahomes probably has 50 million followers on his social media accounts. He could have jumped and opened the champagne and celebrated, but instead, in the most humble example, in that moment, I know there are other examples out there, to run across the field and find the quarterback that he just defeated, I thought was pretty cool for somebody of his influence. Okay, I know none of us are Patrick Mahomes, but we all have the same opportunity. Okay, we all have the same opportunity to show up in somebody's life, to seek out others first, to be happy for others. That's another thing that's really hard for us to do, to be happy for other people when things aren't going that well for ourselves. To seek out other people, to lift other people up. Because Paul says love is a verb, and love is taking action. And the Bible says love is to be pursued over our differences. Again, he just got done beating them in a back and forth game that could have went any direction, and he sought him out to say, hey bro, I love what you did out on the field. I respect the heck out of you. We'll see you here next year, instead of celebrating with his team. Love, and I know it's a football field. Our differences are way more serious than this. But love is to be pursued over our differences, says Paul. Love says we don't all have to agree. But love does say, I know there's some teenagers here. There's some older adults here. There's really got a nice variety here. But love says, I'm not going to participate in something that brings another person down anymore. I'm not going to participate in something that brings another person down anymore. Whether that's bullying on social media, whether that's calling somebody a name on social, which is bullying, or gossiping about somebody, or talking about how you hope somebody, we've all been there, I've done it myself before too, how you hope, maybe not specifically, I've never said I hope they fail, but you know deep inside your heart that you're not happy for them. Our world says, I don't like something, let's just remove it. But Paul says, and this is a great reminder, it was a good reminder for me too, it isn't about us. The gospel isn't about us, it's about them. It's about the love that we show other people. It's about the love that we give. Because we can only love because God first loved us. And by making myself, any of us, we've all done it in different ways, but by making ourselves look better by tearing somebody else down isn't love at all. That's selfish pride. So, all of that, let's have a nice little recap here and be done by about 10:34. That's not bad. But to be a Christian, it's not about being right. It's like crazy quiet in here. Like none of the fans must be running or something. But it's not about being right. I know we all love to be right. I love to be right, especially when I'm having a discussion with Jessica. I just love to be right. But sometimes that just makes matters worse. It's not about being right. It isn't about how many followers we have. It isn't what's in it for me. It isn't expecting a special blessing. Well, I did that really good thing, so like I should get a special blessing. Being a Christian is about love. Love is many things, but love is being a role model in a child's life. We've got a world that doesn't have a lot of role models right now. Every single one in here has the same ability as Patrick Mahomes. Maybe we don't have 36 million followers on Twitter, but we have the ability to impact a child's life in the same positive way. There's so many kids out there who need an adult role model in their life. I didn't know that's where I was going with this message, but maybe somebody needed to hear that. I go visit an 8th grader at Edison Middle School in Sioux Falls once a week for mentoring, and I know Sioux Falls is looking, and I know Sioux Falls, Rock Rapids, I know, but there's probably a need here too. But Sioux Falls is looking for male mentors specifically. I heard that one day, and that's why I signed up, and it's such a rewarding time just to go spend time with another child. You don't have to do that. That's not a pat on my back. There's so many other things that I could be doing, but that's just a call and a reminder for all of us out there that there's people that need our love. There's people that need us. And there's people that need us to live by example. Love is showing up for someone when everybody else has walked out. Love is showing up when it counts. When no one else will. When the world walks out, that's when Christians are supposed to walk in. Because being a Christian, I know we have a world that's just addicted to attention. The more attention, the better. But being a Christian is not about attention. It's about intention. It's about acting out a verb that Paul says love is. Love is kind. Love is patient. Love does not boast. Love looks for the better in people. Love seeks out others before itself. So, this is where I was going to have you play. But you can't. Go ahead. Yeah, you're really good. You get a little thing. Give us a little number. So as we close, I want you to think. I want you to reflect. I want you to close your eyes. Think about those people that have been there for you. You wouldn't be here today if it wasn't somebody showing love to you. Now, I know we can also think about times where maybe people have let us down. We've let down others. But as you think, as you close your eyes today and reflect on the love that God has shown us, in the different examples that we've heard today, who needs you? Who needs you in their life? Who needs you to reach out to them? Who needs you to show love to them? Who in your life is looked past? Who's down on their luck? Who's maybe made some poor decisions and just needs some love instead of judgment that they get from everybody else? We're called to love. We're called to be the light. And we're called to be the hope. And I know I'm supposed to talk about only positive things and uplifting things, but our world is hurting. We got a lot of people out there that are hurting. We got people that won't put their phones down. We got kids that are being bullied. Maybe not right here, and that's amazing. But we've got kids in this country that are being bullied to no end. We got kids that are thinking that there's no hope anymore. And it's our job, as exemplified through Patrick Mahomes, and we thank him for his wonderful example, that we have the same ability to be that light in somebody's life. The light that the world so desperately needs. I know you're thinking about somebody. Whoever it is that you're thinking about, that's the person that needs your love. Intention is action. Love is action. May we meditate on that in the week ahead. Thank you, Mary Lee. Let us close in prayer. Father God, thank you for your word. Thank you for letting us know that there's more ways to love than just romantic love. We've heard this text so many times for weddings, whatever it is, but the world needs us. Father, you are love, and we can only love because you first loved us. You gave your Son so that we may have life. Help us be an example to the watching world. Help us encourage and pick others up. Because, Father, this life is hard. And following you is not a guarantee of an easy life. But it gives us hope and courage to face the day, to put one foot in front of another. So help us encourage one another and help us be there for one another when it matters. We're so thankful for the gift of your Son, the gift that he gives us in everlasting life, in eternal love. Because everything else will fade away, but love never will. In Jesus' wonderful and amazing name we pray. Amen. Be people of hope. Let hope live in your heart and share the hope of Christ with all you meet.